There's a character in The Lord of the Rings who breaks every rule. He calls himself Eldest. He remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn. He says he was here before the Dark Lord came from outside. The One Ring, the most powerful object in Middle-earth, has absolutely no effect on him. He could keep it safe in his forest. Tonight, we're going to explore who Tom isn't, what he might represent, and ultimately, what he reveals about Middle-earth, about power, and about us. Part 1. Who Tom isn't. Let's start with the obvious theories, because if you've read The Lord of the Rings, you've tried to solve the Tom Bombadil puzzle, and there are some tempting answers. The Vala theory seems promising. Tom calls himself Eldest. He remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn. He says he was here before the Dark Lord came from outside, and we know that's Morgoth, the fallen Vala who entered the world in its earliest days. If Tom was here before Morgoth arrived in Middle-earth, doesn't that suggest he's one of the Valar? But the problems multiply quickly. The Valar are cosmic powers who shaped continents and raised mountain ranges. Tom won't even leave his relatively small patch of the old forest. More tellingly, Gandalf and Elrond know of Tom, discuss him at the council and still call him a riddle. They don't say, "Oh, that's Tulkas," or "Clearly that's Ulmo in another form." They treat him as genuinely mysterious, and these are beings who spent ages in Valinor or have ancient knowledge of the powers. Beyond that, the Valar withdrew to Aman after the War of Wrath. They left Middle-earth. Tom never left. He's been singing in his forest through every age. What about a Maya then? This is the most popular scholarly theory. Robert Foster's Complete Guide to Middle-earth identifies Tom as Maya, and it makes some sense. After all, Gandalf and Saruman are Maya, as are Balrogs and Sauron himself. But here's the problem. The ring affects Maya. Gandalf explicitly fears to take it. Saruman's desire for it corrupts him utterly. The ring is essentially concentrated Maya power. Sauron's essence poured into gold. How could Tom be completely immune? Not resistant through strength of will, but genuinely unaffected, as if the ring operates on a frequency he can't perceive. Also, Maiar have purposes. They're bound to one of the Valar, or sent on specific missions. Gandalf came to oppose Sauron. The Balrogs served Morgoth. Even Ungoliant had her insatiable hunger driving her. Tom has no discernible purpose beyond delighting in his forest. If he's a Maya, what's his function? Who sent him? The question unravels the theory. Then there's the Eru Iluvatar theory, the idea that Tom is God incarnate in Middle-earth. When Frodo asks Goldberry who Tom is, she answers, "He is." Just those two words. In biblical tradition, God tells Moses, "I am that I am." Could "he is" be the same thing? Tolkien rules this out in his letters. Eru does not incarnate in Arda. Tolkien saw the incarnation as something infinitely greater than anything he would dare write into his mythology. This theory is us reading theological significance into a cryptic answer, which does mean something, but not this. There's also the unfallen man theory, Adam before the fall, humanity in innocence. Tom is called eldest and fatherless, which could evoke the first man having no human parents. His realm feels Edenic. There's something genuinely prelapsarian about him, but this can't explain his power, why he remembers events before the world was shaped, or his unique relationship with the ring. Here's the crucial point. Every theory fails what I call the 3 tests. Test 1. Explain both Tom's immense power and his self-imposed limitations. He defeats Barrow Wights with a song, commands Old Man Willow with a word, yet he won't leave his borders to help in the war. Test 2. The ring. Why does it have no power over Tom, yet Tom cannot destroy it, or even be trusted to guard it? Test 3. Eldest. Tom remembers the first raindrop, before the Dark Lord came from outside. How can this be true without contradicting Tolkien's chronology? None of the standard answers pass all 3 tests, which means we need to look somewhere unexpected, not at who Tom is within the mythology, but at where he came from outside of it. Part 2. The origin that changes everything. Here's what most people don't know. Tom Bombadil existed before Middle-earth. In 1934, Tolkien published a poem in the Oxford magazine called The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. And who was Tom in that poem? A Dutch doll belonging to Tolkien's children, transformed into the spirit of the vanishing Oxford and Berkshire countryside. In the original poem, Tom is a jolly nature spirit having adventures in the English countryside. He meets Goldberry, tangles with Old Man Willow. These episodes made it into The Lord of the Rings, but in the poem, they're not connected to any larger mythology. Tom is just Tom. When Tolkien began writing The Lord of the Rings, he imported Tom into Middle-earth. He took this pre-existing character and dropped him into the Silmarillion's cosmic framework, and Tolkien knew this created a problem. In his letters, he acknowledged Tom was discordant and odd. He called him an intentional aberration. This is crucial. Tolkien didn't make everything fit perfectly. In this one case, he kept an element he knew didn't fully integrate. Why? Because Tom represented something he felt was important. A delight in things for themselves without reference to yourself. The naturalist's pure observation, the philologist's love of language for its own sake. The vanishing countryside before industrialization destroyed it. Tolkien wrote, "I would not have left him in if he did not have some kind of function." But that function isn't plot, it's thematic, it's philosophical. Tom exists to represent something that can't be defeated by defeating Sauron, because it operates on completely different principles than power. Understanding this, that Tom was imported rather than organically grown from the mythology, is key to understanding why he's so strange. He's a piece from a different puzzle, deliberately placed where he doesn't quite fit. And that dissonance is the point. But while Tom may have originated outside the mythology, there is a lens within Tolkien's cosmology that illuminates what he represents, and it starts with understanding something fundamental about how Middle-earth itself came to be. Part 3. What the Tom episodes prove. Before we explore what Tom might represent, let's look at what the text actually shows us. 3 key scenes reveal something unprecedented in Middle-earth, and understanding these episodes is crucial. The ring scene. Tom does something that shouldn't be possible. He demands to see the ring, not with desire or fear, but pure curiosity. Like a naturalist examining an interesting beetle, Frodo hands it over, and Tom handles it without hesitation, without corruption, without any visible effect. Then he puts it on his finger. Nothing happens. Tom doesn't turn invisible. He doesn't enter the Wraith world. He just stands there, solid and visible. The ring glinting on his finger like any ordinary trinket. He tosses it in the air, makes it vanish, laughs, and hands it back as if it were a child's toy. Later, Frodo tests this. He puts on the ring himself, hoping to observe Tom unseen, but Tom turns and speaks to him directly. "Hey there, hey, come Frodo there, where be you a-going? Old Tom Bombadil's not as blind as that yet." Tom sees Frodo while invisible to everyone else. The ring's fundamental operation, shifting wearers between seen and unseen, simply doesn't work on or around Tom. Why? The text doesn't say Tom stands outside the ring's ordinary operation entirely. The council debate. At the Council of Elrond, the wise debate what to do with the ring. Erestor suggests, give it to Tom Bombadil. He's immune to it. He's powerful. This suggestion was quickly turned down. Gandalf immediately explains why this is disastrous. This isn't strength of will. Tom wouldn't resist using the ring. He would literally forget why it matters. You cannot trust someone to guard a thing if they cannot comprehend why that thing is valuable. The ring works by amplifying desire. It finds what you want and offers power to achieve it. But Tom doesn't want in any way the ring understands. He doesn't want to rule, expand, protect, or control. The ring has no leverage because Tom exists in a state where such leverage is meaningless. Then Glorfindel adds the sobering truth. In any case, if Sauron were to triumph, Bombadil will fall, last as he was first. Even Tom isn't invulnerable. Total victory of darkness would eventually reach even him, but he would be the last to fall, because he's the oldest, the most fundamental full circle. As he was first, so he would be last. Tom's power is vast within his territory, but he won't leave it. Gandalf notes this limitation, but crucially, he frames it as Tom's choice. Tom wouldn't come even if begged because he would not understand the need. Not can't understand, wouldn't. The quest for power is categorically meaningless to him. Look at what Tom calls himself, master of wood, water and hill. But Goldberry clarifies, the trees and the grasses and all things growing or living in the land belong to themselves. Tom Bombadil is the master. He's master through understanding and respect, not ownership or control. Sauron seeks to own and dominate. Tom delights without possessing. The old forest where Tom lives is a remnant. It's what remains of vast woodlands that once covered most of Eriador. Over ages, the forest was cut back as civilization expanded. Tom's territory has been shrinking. Did he shrink with it, or did he choose to stay with what remains, the last pocket of ancient wildness? These three elements, immunity to the ring, inability to care about power struggles, and self-limitation to ancient untamed places, suggest something specific. Tom's power resonates where something original still exists, but cannot engage with corruption on corruption's terms. Part 4. The music as lens. There's one aspect of Tolkien's cosmology that illuminates Tom better than any other theory. Not as a definitive answer, Tolkien intentionally left that mysterious, but as a compelling lens that makes sense of what we observe. Everything in Middle-earth begins with music. The Ainulindala describes how Eru Ilúvatar created the Ainur and taught them to sing. He proposed themes and they made music. Not background music. The music was creation itself. As they sang, they saw visions. Mountains rising, stars kindling, the whole history of the world from beginning to end. But discord entered the music. Melkor, mightiest of the Ainur, wanted to create his own themes. He wove ideas that clashed with Eru's harmony. Some Ainur near him began singing his themes instead. Discord battled harmony, Eru's original vision versus Melkor's corruption. 3 times Eru introduced new themes. 3 times Melkor opposed with louder, more violent discord. Finally, Eru ended the music with a single overwhelming chord. Then Eru made the music real. He spoke, Let these things be. The song became the world. The Ainur descended into creation, taking physical form in the universe they had sung into being. Now, here's the question almost no one asks. The Ainur entered the world, but what happened to the music itself? Consider Tom through this lens. He is song incarnate. Not just a singer, he is music. Every word in rhyme and rhythm. His presence is sonic. Goldberry hears him coming from miles away by his singing, and his songs have power. When Old Man Willow traps the hobbits, Tom's song commands immediate release. When the Barrow Wight captures them, Tom's stronger song breaks its ancient evil. He doesn't sing about nature. His songs shape it, order it, command it, almost as if his voice carries the authority of the music that sang creation into being. Through this lens, Tom's immunity to the ring makes sense. The ring is Sauron's power concentrated, and Sauron's power derives from Morgoth's corruption, from Melkor's discord woven into the fabric of reality. If Tom embodies the original, uncorrupted music, then he and the ring are like 2 different songs playing simultaneously. Neither can affect the other, because they operate on different frequencies entirely. This illuminates why Tom can see Frodo while he wears the ring. The ring's power is discord-derived. Tom is something prior to that system, not resistant to it, but categorically outside it. It explains his boundaries. Tom has power where the original music still resonates, in ancient wild places like the Old Forest that have never been fully tamed or corrupted. But toward the east, where Mordor lies and Morgoth's fortress once stood, the discord is strongest. Tom's harmony can maintain its pocket of the old world, but cannot oppose concentrated discord directly, and it explains why he would fall last as he was first. Even the original music would eventually be drowned out by total triumph of discord. The last note would fade, but it would be the last, because it was the first. This reading is compelling. It illuminates the text beautifully, but, and this is crucial, Tolkien never confirms it. He leaves Tom mysterious on purpose. The music lens helps us understand what Tom represents thematically, but trying to pin down exactly what Tom is misses the point. He's meant to be the enigma that remains. Part 5. Goldberry and the Dreams. We can't fully understand Tom without Goldberry. She's often dismissed as a minor character, but her presence reveals something essential. Who is Goldberry? The river woman's daughter. That's all the text gives us. She's connected to water, to the Withywindle that flows through the old forest. Tom tells the hobbits he caught her, pulled her from pools by her music. Their meeting was a meeting of songs. Goldberry is described as slender as a willow wand. There's that willow imagery again, connecting her somehow to the malevolent old man willow. Is she a water spirit? The text doesn't say, and speculation beyond that is poetic interpretation rather than canon. What matters is what she reveals. When Frodo asks, "Who is Tom Bombadil?" Goldberry answers, "He is." Not, "He is the oldest," or "He is a spirit," or "He is the master." Just, "He is." This is being without qualification, existence without category. It suggests Tom exists on a more fundamental level than other beings in Middle-earth, being in itself before differentiation into this or that. Then there are the dreams. When the hobbits sleep in Tom's house, Frodo dreams. The second night's vision is crucial. A far green country under a swift sunrise opened before him. If you know the ending of The Lord of the Rings, you recognize this. It's the exact image that appears when Frodo sails to Valinor, his first glimpse of the Undying Lands. In Tom's house, at the very beginning of his quest, Frodo sees his ending. Why? Tom's house exists as a threshold space, not just geographically between the Shire and the wider world, but metaphysically, between innocence and experience, between the mundane and the mystical, between time as linear progression and time as eternal present. The hobbits don't just visit Tom and continue unchanged. They pass through a transformation. They touch something beyond the concerns of the quest, beyond power itself, and that touch will sustain them through the darkness ahead. Part 6. What Tom teaches us. So what does Tom actually represent? What's the lesson everyone misses? Tom tests our understanding of power. Middle-earth is obsessed with power. Sauron seeks domination. Saruman seeks control through knowledge. Even good characters like Gandalf and Galadriel wield power carefully. The ring offers power to everyone, and the temptation is always that they'll use it for good. But Tom has power and seeks nothing. He's arguably the most powerful being the hobbits encounter, and he uses that power only to maintain his little realm and help those who stumble into his forest. He doesn't expand. He doesn't conquer. He doesn't even extend his protection beyond self-chosen borders. This is the paradox. Tom is powerful because he doesn't seek power. His immunity to the ring isn't a resistance he maintains. It's a natural state arising from not wanting what the ring offers. He doesn't resist temptation through will. He exists in a state where temptation is incomprehensible. Then there's the contrast between delight and domination. Tolkien describes Tom as a delight in things for themselves without reference to yourself. This is profound. We typically relate to things by what they can do for us. This tree gives lumber. This river provides power. This land can be farmed. We think in terms of use, exploitation, benefit. Tom loves the old forest not for what it gives him. He simply loves it. The trees belong to themselves, as Goldberry says. Tom is master through appreciation, not ownership. This is also why Tom can't save Middle-earth, and why readers find this frustrating. Tom could fix everything. Why won't he help? Because Tom's power is preservation, not transformation. He can maintain original harmony in his realm. He can keep corruption at bay where the old world still resonates. But he cannot undo the discord woven into reality by Melkor. He cannot engage with corruption on its own terms and defeat it. That task requires the children of Ilúvatar, elves and men. It requires free will, sacrifice, choice. The ring must be destroyed through choices of free beings, not through power of ancient spirits. Tom shows what was and what might be. He cannot create what must be. That's the work of mortals. Part 7. Why the mystery matters. Peter Jackson's decision to cut Tom makes sense cinematically. Tom doesn't advance plot, but it reveals something about modern storytelling. Cutting him tightens plot, but trims the book's central argument about power. Not good power beats bad power, but renounce domination altogether. Tolkien was explicit about why he kept Tom. Modern readers want everything explained. We want encyclopedic knowledge, family trees, complete timelines. But Tolkien insisted, even in a mythical age there must be some enigmas, as there always are. Tom Bombadil is one, intentionally. Real mythology has gaps. Norse myths never fully explain Fenrir. Greek myths contradict themselves on creation. These aren't flaws, they're features. They make the world feel real, ancient, lived in. They suggest depth beyond what any one mind constructed. Tom is Tolkien's protected mystery. By including a being who defies explanation, who doesn't fit the categories, Tolkien makes Middle-earth feel genuine. He's saying, not everything can be explained. Not everything should be. Let some magic remain magic. But there's deeper literary purpose. In a story about the ring, ultimate tool of control, Tom represents complete renunciation of control. He shows another way is possible, not using power for good, but transcending the desire for power entirely. Without Tom, The Lord of the Rings is heroes defeating a villain. With Tom it asks, what are we fighting for? What should we value? Is there something more important than power? The quest succeeds not just in destroying Sauron, but in preserving a world where things like Tom can exist, where ancient forests stand undisturbed, where joy and delight in nature for its own sake have a place, where being matters more than controlling. Tom also represents the spirit of the vanishing countryside, Tolkien's real-world concern. He fought in World War I, saw mechanized death, watched industrialization destroy the English countryside he loved. The War of the Ring mirrors this, mechanized evil seeking total domination. And in the midst of modern horror, Tom continues existing, continues singing, continues delighting without controlling. He's what we're losing. He's what's worth fighting for. And removing him, while making a tighter film, removes this dimension entirely. Closing, the protected mystery. Who is Tom Bombadil? The music of the Ainur lens illuminates him beautifully. Tom as resonance of the original creative harmony, still singing in ancient places. This reading makes sense of his power, his limitations, his immunity to the ring, his self-chosen boundaries. It's compelling, but Tolkien never confirms it. He leaves Tom intentionally mysterious, and that's perfect. In an epic where we can trace the genealogy of every king for millennia, where we know how every ring was forged and every kingdom fell, Tom remains unexplained, the one element that defies our categories, the deliberate enigma. Let some magic remain magic. Let some questions go unanswered. Something in the world defies your systems and escapes your explanations. That's more honest, more real. Actual mythology works this way, and actual wonder requires that we don't know everything, can't control everything, that something remains beyond our grasp. Tom represents possibility, existing without dominating, power without violence, joy without possession, ancient wisdom without ambition. He's what Middle-earth was before corruption, and what it could become if corruption were healed. Most people ask, who is Tom Bombadil? But that's the wrong question. The right question is, what does Tom Bombadil reveal about us? He reveals what we value, what we seek, what we've lost. He shows we've become so focused on power and control that we can't recognize someone who exists without them. We can't comprehend delight that doesn't lead to possession. We can't understand mastery that comes from respect rather than domination. Tom Bombadil is what most people miss. The reminder that what we're saving isn't power, but the capacity for delight. The best things in life are ones we can't control, can't possess, can't dominate, can't fully understand. We can only delight in them. In a world obsessed with the ring, that might be the most radical thing of all. Tolkien knew what he was doing. He knew Tom didn't fit perfectly. He knew Tom would confuse readers. He kept him anyway, because some things matter more than neat explanations. Tom Bombadil is Tolkien's protected mystery, proof that the world is larger, stranger, and more wonderful than our systems can contain, eldest and fatherless first and last, the one character in Middle-earth who simply, completely is. Hey doll, merry doll, ring a dong dillo. The mystery remains, and so does the music. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive tonight. Tom Bombadil will remain a mystery, intentionally, beautifully so. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be. Until next time, stay safe and stay by the fire.